Okay. So any questions from anyone from last two sessions, please? Any questions on last two sessions? No.
Hi Lakshman, this is Gayaz.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, today is my first demo here, so I haven't joined the previous two sections.
Okay, no issues. We'll share the videos. You can go through. If you have any questions, we can connect. Yep.
Okay.
Great. Okay, fine. So done. In today's session, let's talk about user part. Users in Fusion applications. So users and Fusion applications. In the Fusion applications, what are the users we create? Those users are classified into two types. One is implementation user. The second one is employee user. Okay. So implementation user and employee user. So what is the difference between these two users? The implementation user, when you get access to fresh environment. So better we'll talk about those points also. Okay. Now we may implement only financials, or we may implement procurement, supply chain management, etc. for our client. Whatever we implement, we need to get access to that environment. We need to get access to that environment so that within that environment we can do the implementation. The environment what we get from Oracle, that we call as instance. Okay, we call it as instance. Within instance, what we can have? We can have applications, database, reports, and etc. Primarily functional front, we have to understand these points. Within every instance, you can have a applications, database, reports, and etc. So within this instance, we have to do the implementation. When you do the real-time implementation, how many instances we get from Oracle? Every client by default can get two instances. One instance for production. One instance for production, say production instance. The other instance for testing instance. When you do the implementation for any client, first we have to test all the scenarios in this instance. We have to set up this and we have to test. We have to show to the client. We have to take the approval from them. If they are okay to use this system, then we have to set up one more system as a production. This is the one where the company will start recording their business transactions. So by default, every client will get two instances from Oracle. Those are test instance and production, or this you can call as pre-production and production instance. This is the one which we use at the time of implementation support. Once implementation is done, the client will use for real business transaction entry only production instance. Okay, and one more point here. We get only two, but for our understanding, I'll touch one more point here. So these two instances are blank instances. Okay, there won't be any sample data, but you can get one more instance from Oracle with the sample data. When we talk about sample data, the sample data what Oracle is providing, they are using the name called as a vision. Okay, the company name they are using as a vision. Since Oracle is providing the instance with the sample data. Within the sample data, they are using the company name as a vision. That instance we can call as a vision instance. It's very simple. If you are getting the instance from Oracle with the sample data, that instance we are calling as a vision instance. Why we are calling as a vision? Oracle used name called as a vision for the company name to create the sample data. But at the time of implementation, we get two instances only. Those are test instance and the production instances. So these two instances we use as a part of implementation. This instance, okay, vision instance, ideally this instance we can use for training purposes. Okay, training purposes we can use. So whatever we can do in these two instances, the same can be done within this instance. Only the difference is here you don't find sample data. Here you can find the sample data. That is only the difference. This you have to understand as a landscape of the instances when we work for any client. Sometimes, say you are implementing for your client and Oracle provided these two instances, but your client is PaaS client. They taken not SaaS subscription, PaaS, platform as a service. That means we can understand they are going to do some customizations. Ideally, production we will use once a solution is ready. We will set up and we will use it. Before that, we use a test instance. Mostly, test instance is used by functional people. As a consultant, we do all the payables, receivables, assets, general ledger, cash management, all these setups we do within the test instance. We'll test, we'll show to the client, we'll take the approval. That's how we'll proceed. But if it is a PaaS instance, definitely they have to do some customizations. They have to do some customizations. To do the customization, generally, we don't use the test instance. We use the separate instance. Okay, we use separate instance that we call as development instance. Okay, that we call as development instance. That we call as development instance. So some clients they may do some customizations. Still, they'll do the customizations, creating some custom objects, some customizations, and testing also. Everything they'll do in the test instances only. Few clients, if more customizations are there, instead of using the test instance, they'll get separate instance from Oracle that we call as development instances. What are the developments technical people are going to do? Everything they'll do within this and the same development they'll test within the development instance. But Oracle is providing only these two. If you want to get these additional instances, you have to pay extra. Separately, you have to pay. Then only you get. As a client, if you take Oracle Fusion subscription, you will get two instances only. Any additional instances, yes, you can pay and get access. So this is what we have to understand. Any questions here, please? We'll talk about users before we proceed with that. Any questions on this instance part? Any questions, please?
So it means like, I mean, the vision instance and development instance, we need to pay extra amount, Mr. Ashwin.
Yeah. See, the vision instance Oracle is providing for their partners. Say, for example, you are working for a company called as Wipro. Okay, Wipro will do the implementation for the clients. Now, Wipro is implementation partner to Oracle. Since Wipro is the implementation partner, Oracle will provide Vision instance for Wipro because internally they may have to deliver the trainings for their employees or other testing purposes, etc. They'll provide access. When it comes to the client, for client Oracle won't provide any Vision instances. Reality they don't require also. They need system as per their business. So that is the reason Oracle will provide if any additional instances are required for a client, that is a blank instances. Without any data they'll provide, the company can create the data, their business information, they can get into that environments, they can use it. This is what we have to understand. Any other questions, please? So any questions from anyone on this point, please? No questions. Fine. Now we are discussing about users and Fusion application. Say we got access to these two instances, or say only one instance. Okay, take any scenario. Okay, we got instance access from Oracle. When you get access from Oracle, they'll provide the URL, the instance URL they will provide. Okay, they'll provide two separate URLs for test and production. Say we got URL for test instance, and they'll provide the login credentials, username and password they will provide. So with that, we can log in and we can start doing the setups, which we call as a implementation. We can start doing the setups within that instance. As per the client business, we can keep that test instance environment is ready. These are all points detail level will understand very soon, how to do the setups, how to connect to the instance, etc. Just now we are just discussing. Okay, so when you take the Fusion subscription from Oracle, they will provide the instance URLs and they'll provide the login credentials. With that login credentials, with that username and password, we can connect to the instance. After connecting the instance, ideally what we generally do is we create our own users. Okay, we create our own users. When you get access to the instance, what are the users we create initially, those users we call as implementation user. Okay, so these are the fresh instances. When you work for the client, okay, when you work for the client, whatever the user we create, that we are calling as implementation user. Reason, these are the fresh instances. In fresh instance, you cannot create employee user directly. Let's not try to understand what is the difference between the implementation user and employee user. Please make a note, we have a two type of users. Very soon we will understand the difference between implementation user and employee user. Yes, we will discuss very detailed level. Even if you try to understand now, it will create a lot of confusion. Once we get some basic clarity about implementation user, yes, we will discuss about employee user and we will create in the system also. For now, just make a note, simple point. In the fresh instance, in the very fresh instance, we can create only implementation user. We cannot create employee user. This is a point we have to make a note. Why exactly will come to know very soon. Now, the instance what we are going to use when we are working for any client, the first step, okay, the first thing what we have to do is create your own user. The own user what we are going to create, that we call as implementation user. Implementation user. That means you are going to work as an implementation consultant. You are going to work as a consultant, say, to implement financials applications. When you are going to implement financials application, you require access to that instance with the full privileges. Okay, you need full privileges to the instance, then only you can do the required setups and you can do the implementation as per the client requirement. So we'll see how to create the implementation user. Okay, we'll see how to create the implementation user. Say you know how to create implementation user, but how to give the required or say enough privileges to implementation user to work as a consultant with full privileges. If you want to create implementation user, let me take example here. Say I'm going to create implementation user called as a Walmart. Let's say we are implementing for Walmart. Now we'll go and create the Walmart user as an implementation user. So what permissions we have to give to this Walmart? Since Walmart user is going to work as a consultant, full privileges we require. So now what we have to do is in Fusion applications, if you want to give any privileges, any access to any user, we have to use the concept called as the roles. Okay, we have to give the access to the users through roles only. Say you have one user, that user belongs to payables department. Now we have to assign we have to give the access to that user related to payables department. In the same way, one user is working for receivables department. When one user is working for receivables department, we have to give the access to receivables application related roles. The same way, which user is working for which department, accordingly we have to assign the relevant roles. But now we are not talking about the employees who are working in the company. We are talking about the consultant who is going to do the implementation. So that is the reason for this user, you don't need to assign specific application related roles. You have to assign few common roles which will give the full privileges to the system for consultants. So when you create implementation user in any fresh instance, we have to assign two basic roles. We'll see what are those. One is application implementation consultant role. Okay, one is application implementation consultant role. The second one is IT security manager. These are the two roles we have to assign to every implementation consultant. Okay, every implementation consultant we have to assign these two roles. What is the purpose we have to assign these two roles? Let's try to understand. If you give the access to application implementation consultant role to any user, that user will have access to FSM. Okay, FSM. FSM stands for, let me write here. FSM stands for Functional Setup Manager. Okay, FSM stands for Functional Setup Manager. If you assign application implementation consultant role to Walmart user, this Walmart user will be able to have access to FSM. Okay, this Walmart user is able to access to FSM. By connecting to FSM, what this Walmart user can do? So this Walmart user can perform the setups, or you call it as configuration. In other words, you can say implementation. If you assign application implementation consultant role to Walmart user, the Walmart user will get access to FSM, Functional Setup Manager. Okay, how it looks like and all we are going to see in the system. For now, just I'm trying to introduce the terminology and a few points. So with the help of application implementation consultant, Walmart can have access to FSM environment. Within the FSM, what this Walmart user can do, the Walmart can do the setups. The same setups you can call it as a configuration, or overall you can call as implementation. And if you assign IT security manager role to Walmart user, what Walmart user can do? The Walmart user will have access to security console. The Walmart user can connect to security console. If Walmart user is connecting to the security console, what this Walmart user can do by connecting to the security console? By connecting to the security console, Walmart user can create new users. You can say create or manage users. Okay. If you assign IT security manager role to Walmart user, this Walmart user will be able to create new users, and existing users also can be managed. Managing means changing the password and assigning some new roles, or removing few roles which are already assigned. And this same IT security manager will allow us to customize the roles also. Customize roles. Okay, IT security manager. If you give the access to IT security manager for any user, that user can connect to the security console. With the help of security console, that user will be able to create the new users, existing users that user can modify, and what are the roles Oracle is providing, those roles we call as seeded roles. Take example, this application implementation consultant and IT security manager, these two roles we call as seeded roles. Okay, seeded roles. We call it as seeded roles. Whatever Oracle is providing, those we call as seeded roles. Yes, we can create roles as per our business requirement. Those we call as a custom roles. So if any user got access to IT security manager role, that user will be able to create the custom roles also. Customized roles means custom roles can be created from that user since that user got access to security console. Now, when you do the implementation, we have to assign minimum these two roles to every consultant related user. This is the point we have to understand. Any questions on this, please? Lakshman, one question.
Good morning, Mr. Lakshman.
Yeah, please.
The application implementation consultant, when you create him as a user, he will already have the security console in that.
No. Say you created one user. Okay, say you create Walmart user. After creating
First time.
user, what you did? You assigned application implementation consultant and IT security manager, or you assigned only one? If it is one, which is the role?
Okay, because we have assigned IT security manager, it will automatically get the security console.
Oh, yeah. That's what. If you assign IT security manager role, then Walmart user can connect to security console. Once this user has access to security console, the console will have a privileges like creating users and customizing the roles.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Say you assigned only implementation consultant role to the user. Yes, you can do the setups. Can we create the new users? No. Can you create the custom roles? No. That's all. Because you not yet assigned any IT security manager role. If you assign, then only be able to do these activities.
So for implementing, at the time of implementation, we need to customize the roles also. That is the reason why we need IT security manager.
Exactly. In every project, we have to customize the roles. How to customize? We have one session on that, complete session. Okay, there we'll discuss the point. Yes, every implementation as per client business and the roles, the people who are working, what is their responsibilities in the company. Accordingly, we have to create the custom roles. Yes, for that we need access to IT security manager. Then only we can do those.
Thank you.
Thanks. Any other
Lakshman, good morning. One question. So basically, when you buy Oracle Financials or Oracle apps, by default, they give us application implementation consultant permissions, or both IT security manager and the consultant.
Yeah, they'll provide on user. Okay, that user will have access to these two roles: application implementation consultant and IT security manager role will have. If you want to proceed with the same user, yes, you can do that. But generally in the implementations, once we get access, that user is provided by Oracle. Always we create our own user. Say you have a 10 consultants. Okay, you may create 10 separate users for 10 consultants. Or else you may create 4 or 5 users, and the 4 or 5 users will be used by all the consultants. Generally, see, it's a simple thing. That is the reason we create separate users for each consultant, so that we'll be able to track who is doing what. Easily we can identify. Yep.
Hello, Lakshman. Good morning.
Yeah.
Quick question on these roles, right? You're saying the roles we can customize and assign. So in those roles, can we also make read-only roles of some functions? Like, okay, maybe my payables manager wants to see the purchase orders, or they wants to see the receipts, but only read-only.
Yeah, we can do that. When you are creating the custom roles, you can set that options like read only access or read and write. We can set out.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions here? Right, no questions. Now we'll go and see. Please.
Lakshman had just one confusion in these
Yeah.
two roles assigned.
Please.
So if I have both the roles, only then I can able to assign the new role or create a new role or customize a new role. Say example, if I have an application implementation consultant role, like a role is provided as a user. So being an implementation like or a consultant, so I am also getting monitored with the IT security manager role, right?
No, if you assign application implementation consultant, you can do the setups only. Okay. If you want to create new user, not possible. The reason IT security manager role is not assigned. You have to assign these separately, one by one.
Okay. And like if I have any application implementation consultant role, so again, security manager will role will supersede the application implementation consultant role. That will control the application implementation control.
No, it's very simple. The user required access to which areas? FSM and security console. Then assign these two roles. The user required access to only security console. Assign IT security manager role. The user required access only to FSM. Assign application implementation consultant role. So this is how what access required accordingly we have to assign. Consultants by default they need access to at least these two. That's the reason we have to assign these two to every consultant.
Okay.
Done. But any other questions here, please? Okay, no questions. So now we'll go and see how to create the user within the instance. Okay, we'll see how to create the user within the instance. Okay. Fine. So this is the cloud instance which we are going to use for our practice purpose. And this instance you can access from any device, even from your smartphone also you can access. No plugins, add-ons are required to run this application in any device. If device is connected to internet, by using this instance URL, you can connect and you can just work on it. Okay. Fine. Now just I'll log into this instance with a specific user. Once we connect to this instance and we'll see how to create the user, how to assign the roles. After assigning the roles, we'll verify whether the user is able to access to FSM and to security console because of these two roles. Yeah, we'll go and see that. So now we'll just log in. So we will provide one user instance and a specific username and password we will provide. Even you also can do the same. This is how you can log into the instance. Then you can create your own user and you can ignore the user which we are providing. You can proceed with all the setups with your username. Okay. So we'll share the user credentials to everyone. Instance URL and username and password will share with everyone. The same process you also can follow from your end. Done. After connect, there are a lot of information here which what we have to understand, but not required now. Slowly we'll understand one by one. For now, our target is user creation. We connected to the user with the help of one predefined user or whatever the user we are getting from Oracle. Now we want to create our own user. To create our own user, here we can go to this bar. Okay, it will take us to navigator. Here you can see as a vision. What is this vision? This is a logo. Okay, this is a logo. Within this instance, we have a sample data, but we are not going to refer the sample data. In fresh instance, how we do the setups, how we do the implementation, the same practice we are going to follow in this instance. Okay, why the name you could see here as vision? That is a logo. Even we can change the logo. Okay, we can change this logo from vision to ERP3 or etc. Just that is the logo they are displaying. Okay, the other point is the instance also vision instance. You can find the sample data within this instance, but we are not going to use any sample data. We are not going to depend on that sample data. We are not going to refer the sample data. In fresh instance, what practice, what approach we follow, the same we are going to see in this instance. Now I want to create the user. Click on this bar icon. It will open the navigator. Any question? Somebody unmuted. Please go on mute, please. Click on this bar icon. So it is opening the navigator. Okay. Here you could see many areas related access. We'll come to know all these very soon. But now our target is user creation. Within this navigator, go to tools. Okay, go to tools section and click on tools. The tools section will be expanded. Click on tools. The tools is expanded. Now what we want to do, we want to create the user. Where we can create the user? It's already discussed. Where we can create the user? We can create the user in security console. Now go to security console. Navigator, under tools, we have a security console. Just click on security console. Here, whatever you see here, everything we call as a task. Okay. So everything we call as a task. That means we are going to do some activity. We are going to perform some activity. So that is nothing but task. So in case of Fusion, whatever we do, everything we call as a task. Now, this is a task link, security console task link. Now click on this task, security console. Okay, how we navigated here? Once you log into the instance, click on this bar icons. It will open the navigator. Within the navigator, go to tools section, expand it. Click on that, the section will be expanded. Under tools, you can find one task called as security console. Click on that security console. Okay, click on security console. Now we are in this page. What we want to do, we want to create the user. So select users here. Select users. Select users. Click on add user account. Okay, click on add user account. Here we can create the user and we can assign the roles to this user. Okay, the user what we are going to create now, we call as implementation user. Okay, don't try to understand what is the difference between implementation user and employee user. When we just arrive at stage, we will discuss and will understand. Till that time, whatever the user we are creating, that user we call as implementation user, and there is another user type also, that is employee user. Okay, just remember these 2 points, the 2 type of users, how these two are different, why we have to create implementation user first, why we cannot create employee user first. These all points will come to know very soon. Okay, I'll just repeat this navigation once again. Okay, if you want to create the user, click on this bar icons. Navigator will be open. Okay, within the navigator, you have to expand the tools section. Under tools, you can find the task called as a security console. We are able to see security console here means for this user, IT security manager role is assigned. If IT security manager role is not assigned to this user, you don't find security console under tools for this user. Now we want to create the user. Select users. Okay, if you want to find out any existing users, you can find from here. Okay, this is search. You can search for existing users. Now, what are the user we are using? You can search and find. Yes, you are able to find that user here. So this is how we can create our own user. To create our own user, click on add user account. Click on add user account. We'll use the name called as some XYZINC. Okay, I want to create one user called as XYZINC. The same here you can notice like first name, last name, email, username, password, confirm password. What are the fields are mandatory you are entering? If you want to enter the first name, email ID also, yes, you can enter. So I given the last name. The same last name system is defaulting as a username. Okay. So or else you can change it. Last name it is copying as a username. If you want to change, you can change. Now you can set the password. Okay. Set the password. When you are setting the password, you can look at the password policy. Here, place the cursor on that. When you are setting the password for any user, this is the password policy we have to provide. It's a very simple policy. At least 8 characters should be there and one number. Okay. So this is what we have to notice. And these password policies can be changed. Okay, that option also available. So done. Now we'll set the password after some time. We are creating the user. To the same user we can go and assign the roles, or else let's create the user and we'll assign the roles and we'll discuss. So enter password and confirm the same. Okay, now I can assign these 2 roles to this user. We are planning to assign the 2 roles to this user: application implementation consultant, IT security manager. If I want to assign, I can click on add roles and I can assign. But I don't want to assign now. First we'll complete user creation, then we'll see how to assign the roles. Okay, now save and close. Our implementation user will be ready, but without any roles access, without any permissions. Now let's log into this instance with the same user. Log out from the current user. Our username is XYZINC, right? Okay, so we created a user and we didn't assign any roles to this user. Now you click on navigator. Of course, we have a tools, expand it. Here nothing is there. The previous user got access to many areas, but this user, we didn't assign any roles. So for every user, this is the basic access, but this user cannot do anything. Just click on home, this user will go to home page. Nothing this user can do since no roles are assigned. Okay. Nothing. The preferences, approval space, others, few other tasks we have. But with this, you know, you cannot do any business related activities. No setups you can do. Nothing you can. So no access since no roles for this user. But Oracle is displaying few items, few tasks for every user by default. But with that user cannot do anything. Now we'll go and assign the roles to this user and we'll check what privileges this user will get. Sign out. Click on username, sign out. Now let's log into this instance as a FA user, FA student. Now go to the same user, whatever we created, how to navigate to user part. Navigator tools, under tools, security console. Go to users. Just find out the user whatever we created. The username is given XYZ, right? Click on search. Okay, this is the display name we given, and this is the username. With this name only we can log in, and we didn't provide any email ID. And this user status is active. Okay, locked. No, we can log this account. so that users with this user no one can log in. And look at the actions. So we can log this up. If we log this user access doesn't work, you can reset the password. Yes, you can change the password for this user, or if you want to delete, you can delete the user. And compare users. This user you can compare with another user to understand. So user A and user B, how these two users are different with respect to the roles, assignments and all. So you can see how to reset the password for this user. Select reset password if you want to reset, and select manually change the password. You can set the new password for this user. So reset password. Done. Now what we want to do is, we created user but we didn't assign any roles. Now we'll see how to assign the roles. During the user creation also we can assign the roles by using the tag called as add roles. Anyway, we created, after creating we want to assign. Now you can click on display name or username. These two columns values got hyperlink. Click on username or display name. So you can see no roles are assigned to this user. To assign the roles to this user, click on edit. Okay. To assign the roles to this user, click on add role. You'll understand what is the meaning of this and this, etc. We'll discuss. For now, what we have to understand, we are discussing that on. Click on add role. Okay, now we can assign the roles. Which roles we want to assign? First one is application implementation consultant. Here you type application implementation consultant. Application implementation. Just I typed application implementation. We need consultant role, but along with that we have many other roles which are related to application implementation. Let's look into those. Application implementation administrator. The next one also application implementation administrator. Why they given two roles? There is a difference between these two roles with a role code. Under the role name there is a code for that role. This role code is starting with ASM. The next role, same role, the code is starting with ORASM. There is a simple difference between these two that we will discuss at the time of role customization session. For now, what point you have to take is, you can select any one of the role between these two if you want application implementation administrator role. But anyway, we don't require. Next one is application implementation administrator copy. Somebody copied, here code is ASM. That means this role somebody copied in this instance. And next role is application implementation consultant, application implementation consultant, application implementation consultant copy. This code is ASM, this code is ORA. Role is same, codes are different. Which one we have to assign to the user? Anyone you can assign. Doesn't matter it is starting with ASM or ORA. The two roles will have the same privileges, same rights. These roles will contain. And somebody copied the role, maybe for customization purpose. That also you can see. These two roles they copied. And we have another role called as application implementation manager. Application implementation manager copy. So in overall, simply you can say three roles we have: application implementation administrator, application implementation consultant, application implementation manager. These three roles we have. What roles we have to assign to the consultant? We have to assign application implementation consultant role to this user, so that that user will have a full privileges to the system. Even if you assign application implementation administrator role, that is not equal to consultant role. Consultant role only will have a more privileges than administrator. In the same way, application implementation manager role also cannot have a privileges more than consultant role. That is the reason You no need to assign application implementation administrator or manager roles. Always assign application implementation consultant role only to the user who is going to work as a consultant. And there could be some copied roles, and there could be multiple roles with the different role codes, but we have to look at the role name: application implementation consultant, application implementation consultant. These two Oracle is providing. This is created by somebody. Now we can go and create, we can copy the role. That we'll discuss in the role customization session. So in between, which one we have to select? Anyone you can select. Doesn't make any difference, but why Oracle given two, what is the difference between these two, we'll discuss. Yeah, but now I'm selecting application implementation consultant role. Select it. Select. Click on that, it will get selected. Then say add role membership. Add membership is nothing but assign role to this user. Click on this. The background you can see application implementation consultant role is assigned to our user. And we have to assign one more role called as IT security manager. Okay, IT security manager, IT security manager. Here role code is starting with FND. Here role code is starting with ORE-FND. And the same role, two roles, somebody copied and they given the description as a do not use. They might have done some changes to those, just given note as don't use. Okay, so between these two, which one we have to select? Anyone you can select. Role name should be IT security manager. Code can be anything. Code prefix may start with FND or ORE-FND. Doesn't matter. So select. Select. Say add role membership. Click on done. So this is how we can assign the roles. What is assignable, what is auto provisioning, etc. We will discuss. But now we are trying to understand how to create the user and how to assign the roles. So these two roles we assigned. And going forward, we'll assign many roles and we'll discuss what is the purpose of those roles. Now we are very sure about why we are assigning these two roles. Application implementation consultant role will give the privileges to do the setups. IT security manager role will give the access to the security console where you can create the users and where you can do the role customizations. Now what we can do is say save and close. Click on done. Okay, that's all. Now we can sign out from this user, log into the instance as a XYZ user. XYZ user, we assign the two roles. Because of that user will have access to many areas of application access or say many tasks. Now just click on navigator. See, even if you click on this username also, in this panel also you can see many tasks. Because this user got access to application implementation consultant and IT security manager roles. Now whatever we did on that, any questions from anyone please? Just we created user and we assigned the roles. Any questions from anyone please?
Hi Lakshman, Shravan here.
Please.
Hello?
Please go ahead. Direct question.
Yeah, we are defining the one XYZ INC, right? Define and we can assign the two roles.
Defining, say we created user.
Okay. Yeah, we are created one XYZ INC and we can assign the two roles. One is application implementation consultant, IT security consultant. So while creating the user, we have one option is the user category. So what is the option?
Don't look
user
at
category option.
Don't look at those points. If you talk about that, there are many other options also out there. I'll discuss, but not now. Let's wait for some time. If I explain everything, whatever is available over there, we cannot understand. This is not the right time. I'll cover those. Now let's focus on how to create the user.
Okay, thank you.
Couple of questions, Mr. Lakshman.
Mr. Lakshman,
Please.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? I don't know. While creating the user, we have gone for the actions. There we have seen the delete functionality also for the user, and also the locking functionality.
Date is not there. Delete.
Oh,
delete. Yeah, correct. You are right. Delete we have.
And also there is a functionality called locked.
Yeah, locked.
Locked is like inactive, right?
Yeah, locking in the sense that inactive. That is equal to inactive. Correct.
Inactive.
Yeah.
So when there is an inactive facility, how can we delete the user? Because he may have already done certain transactions that are associated with that user name.
Correct.
Once you delete the user, that name associated with those transactions will also go away, na?
No, not like that. See, first of all, Oracle should not give that privilege to delete the users. If you look at the previous versions, we don't have delete option. But in the Fusion,
that's what.
Okay, say you have a user and you created some setups and you created few transactions with the same username. Now you are deleting. When you delete, what happens is that user won't be available in the security console. You are deleting from security console, but not completely from our database. That user name should reside in the data, should be available in the database, since that is already associated with a few transaction creation. Like who columns, like who created and all, for the information purpose that it will be available. That's how they are managing the Fusion.
Okay, it is not available for the in the security console. That's all.
Yeah, once you delete, it is not available from security console, but it would be available in the database.
And all the transactions are also associated intact.
Exactly. So that the existing transaction won't be disturbed, since they are going to manage it this way.
So once we lock it, it is as good as inactive.
Sorry?
Once we lock the user, so it is as good as inactive.
Yeah, that's it. You when you try to log in, system says this user is not available, and the relevant message will pop up. That's it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, Lakshman, here.
Yeah.
You mean to say that we can create the same user again?
Same user. No, you cannot create the same user. Once you delete, if you try to create once again, it will throw the error. It won't allow us. This user is already exists. That's how it will give the message. We discussed one point. It won't display in the security console, but it will be there in the database.
So then how can we bring him back if somebody needs him back into the security console once deleted?
So directly as a functional friend, we don't have any option. Just we have to write some SR to Oracle and we have to take help from them. That's it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah. And Lakshman, can I go ahead and ask one more question with the roles? I mean, you can actually let me know if it's not the right time. We can discuss later. But I just want to ask you, like, see, in before versions, all these super users are already created, right? Like payable super user, receivable super user. Are those roles like super user roles available? And what do those roles have? All those functions? Is there some guide where it will that will show all these users?
I got your point. We will discuss all those points in our classes for sure. And yes, I'll may share a few documents if you want to refer. So when you refer like previous versions, not like super users and all. Simple point is in EBS we have a menus. Okay, menus.
Yeah.
Right. For payables.
Yes.
Okay. So for payables we have one menu. Receivables we have one menu. Right. The main menus. The same way for every application equal to menus we have a roles.
Okay.
We have a roles. Because when I talk about different type of roles, I'll compare with EBS also. Okay. The main menu is equal to what in Fusion. Submenu is equal to what in Fusion. The function is equal to what in Fusion. The responsibility is equal to what in Fusion. Everything I'll compare and we'll discuss.
Okay. Thank you.
Because if now I can explain, but for few people it will become big mess. I don't want to.
Yeah. No worries. That's fine.
Yeah, Mr. Lakshman, couple of questions. See, I mean, when we are talking about the roles, there are some copied roles, right?
Correct.
Can they be deleted?
Can
Can they be deleted?
roles? No, roles you cannot delete.
Roles which have been copied, it means there's a duplicate one.
Correct.
Can
No,
be deleted,
roles
right?
you cannot delete. You can modify and you can create and you can edit and you can copy. You can do all these operations. You cannot delete those roles.
Okay. So user seeded roles, what we have discussed about seeded roles, right? Which are provided by the Oracle.
Okay.
Can they be edited?
Yeah. Okay. Since you are
It
asking
means,
that question, I'll explain now itself.
okay. And one more thing is,
Let me
can
answer to
user
your
IDs
question.
be case sensitive?
1 second, please. Let me answer to your question. Now
Yeah,
here
yeah.
we have
Okay.
seen the roles like, say, application implementation. Sorry. Now here we have a roles. Your question is, what are the roles Oracle is providing can be edited or not? That is your question, right?
Yes.
Here see, application
Yeah.
implementation consultant and application implementation consultant. Name is same, but codes are different, right?
Yeah.
If role code is starting with ORA, that role you cannot edit. If role code is not starting with ORA, that you can edit. That's it. There is a difference between these two. Inside privileges are same. If code is starting with ORA, you cannot edit it. Both are provided by Oracle. But here code is ORA. Here code is here code is ASM. Here ORA ASM. This is starting with ORA. That means that is protected from editing. But this can be edited. But both can be copied. Both can be copied and new roles can be created. But directly the seeded one what Oracle is giving you cannot edit. But this is allowed to edit. Here.
Okay, but one question associated to this. Let us say, as I said, ORA starting with ORA cannot be edited, right?
Correct.
But what if that is copied and the copied one can be edited?
The copy one can be edited and name will be changed when you copy.
Okay, even if it is prefixed with ORA.
Yeah. Even it is a prefix into ORA, that's the action is copy, right? So that would be fine.
Okay, yeah.
You should change. You should
And once,
update the name to like application implementation consultant before or after prefix or suffix. You have to add something or overall name you may change as per your need.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And
These points we
edit,
discuss more detailed level when you are working on the role customization session. Yeah. Anyway, now you can raise your
okay,
questions. Just I'm giving the hint.
yeah, thank you. And when you edit means like adding the access rights to it, more or removing it.
Oh, anything. Edit means anything. Say within this you can remove some privileges, you can add some additional privileges, or you can do anything, whatever you require. Okay. You can add
Okay,
and you can remove.
okay. And final question: is username is case sensitive?
Username,
User ID is case sensitive?
user ID. Okay. No, not case sensitive.
Yeah.
Not case sensitive.
Because I noticed you created with caps. When you log in, you used
The answer
small.
is no. Answer is no. Not case sensitive username.
Oh, okay. You said okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Actually, you are logging with some username, student login name. Then you are creating one more username is XYINC. Maybe my question is maybe student username is inactive mode. What will happen in the XYNC activation mode?
No. Student, what you said? Student, yes. I used
You are
student login.
logging
I
with the
created
student username.
Yeah.
Then you are creating one more username is XYNC in that under the student login name.
1 second. So when you create the new user, you are creating from which user doesn't matter. You can create from any user, which user got access to IT security manager. Okay, I created XYZ by using FA student login. I may delete FA student, but this user will remain as it is. Two are different users. Which user I created from which user system is not going to count.
Okay. Maybe it's not working student login ID, it's working XYNC username also.
See, I have these two users. I will go and change the password for student user, and you cannot log in with the student. If I don't change the password for XYZ it will work. If I change the password for both, both won't work. What we are doing accordingly, it will act. Okay, there is no dependency. Don't think one user will have a dependency on other user.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Yep, fine. Any other questions here, please?
Hi, Lakshman.
Yeah, please.
In EBS, we have end date. In cloud, we don't have the end date. We
No
go
end
by
date.
delete or so. But yeah, we have a lot of functionality using end date, like use the licensing, count everything. We take care using the end date.
Correct.
But if you don't have that end date functionality here, how do as a client, how do they analyze the number of active users, like who are the users they were working earlier? All that visibility is lost.
You have to, only the option is you have to inactivate it. Okay. With end date, user will be inactivated by that time. That's it. That's how it works. Now you go and do that action manually. Now you can say end date is October 20th. Now you can set. By 20th, it will be inactivated. But here we don't have that option. Okay. On 20th, you can just go and inactivate it. From that time onwards, it won't be available. When you want to take action, you can take then only. So, you cannot schedule it, you cannot plan it. So, they remove total. Yep. And as you mentioned, some product license, etc., that those things can be managed with the profile options and all. And the other side, the entire product is controlled by Oracle only. Yes, they will take care of. There will be communication.
So in that case, only the best option to inactivate is to delete it. That's the only option, because locking is general, like password locking.
Never delete it. First of all, Oracle should not give the delete option, but somehow they given. We don't know great reason. So don't never delete it. Okay, inactivate it. That's all.
How do you inactivate? Because we don't have the option called inactivate. Only lock is there.
Yeah, lock is nothing but inactive. There is no difference. Just terminology is different. Lock means you are locking, means you are inactivating. When you inactivate that user, with that user you cannot access and you cannot perform that any operations. When you lock it, it is equal to the same. That's all.
Actually, to my understanding, like in EBS, lock is something like Windows locking. Somebody typed in 6 times.
No.
It
Okay.
got locked.
It may give some different meaning, but here it is equal to inactivate only, end date only. Once I inactivate, from that time onwards, I cannot log into the instance with that user. If I cannot log in, I cannot do anything. That's it. Simple.
Okay, so that's not even considered for license. Once locked means it is not. Okay, it's not. It is equivalent to inactive.
Yeah.
Got it.
Fine. Any other questions?
Yeah, Lakshman, one more question from my side.
Please.
In a reality, in a implementation project, everyone is having a IT security manager role, or some people, limited people, are we can access the security console response.
Only consultants will have access to IT security manager. Once implementation is done, the client side, the managers can have, like they will inform us who need access to what. Accordingly, we'll give the access to those users also. Mostly in real time, when you do the implementation, every consultant require access to application implementation consultant, IT security manager. Once implementation is done, key people from the client side, maybe IT manager, head, etc., finance managers, or specific department managers who need access to the security manager to look into the users, role assignment, etc., will give the access. In some companies, they never touch. They always depends on the consultants only. Any new role need to be assigned, they will contact the consultants and they'll inform. There'll be big communication channel. They have to write some request and that need to be approved. Finally, that will come to the consultant. Then consultant will assign the role. So there will be certain process. Totally depends on company, but every consultant will have access to these roles. But when it comes to the clients, yes, they will decide who need access, who don't need access.
Okay. Thank you,
Lakshman,
Lakshman.
Anji here.
Yeah, please.
I have question about this vision instance.
Please. See, don't mind.
Yeah.
Forget about my name. Forget about what you are going to. I mean, don't talk. Don't no need to say what you are going to ask. Ask direct question. Don't mind for this.
Okay. See, after creating implementation user in the vision instance, see, I heard that every 15 days once this is going to be vision instance is going to be refreshed.
Yeah, that is for training purpose, right? That is reason Oracle used to refresh.
After refresh, all our data, whatever we have created. So after creating all these things, every 15 days once it will crash, right? It won't get any data again, right? After 15 days.
The time period is not 100% correct. What Oracle used to do is every week, okay, every week they will reset the password for the users.
So again, we have to create our data
One
for
second. Let me complete this.
Again, we have to create, right?
In Vision instance, every week Oracle will reset the password. Whenever they reset the password, see, we are sharing one user. The people who already subscribed, that means who made the payment, etc. Already we given instance access. Okay, so for them we will share the new user. I mean, for that, whatever the user ID we are providing, username and password, the same password will work for them. Whenever Oracle will change this password, we'll get a information and we will reset the password back to the same. Then you will be able to continue with the same username and password. Then you have to log into the instance. For every user, you have to reset the password. Then you can log into the instance with your own user. This happens every week. Saturday or Sunday, one day they will do it. Okay, what are the setups we are going to do? What are the work we are going to do? Nothing will be disturbed. As a tentative schedule, every month once Oracle will refresh the instance. What are the setups we are doing? Everything they'll refresh. During our entire course, maybe one time or two times. If time is not good, maybe three times Oracle will refresh. Okay, when they refresh, no issues. It won't take too much of time. It's anyway we are learning. We have to practice. Let's take in positive way. You can just do all those setups once again. It won't take days time. In a couple of hours, you can complete all those setups. That's it. This is what we have to understand. Yep. Any questions now, please?
Hello. Yeah.
Please.
You said that we have. Do we need to necessarily assign these two roles, FSM and the IT security manager, to the implementation consultant?
You tell me whether we have to assign or not.
Yes. Do we need to necessarily do it, or we can also give it to two different persons? Functional setup manager will do functional setups.
One person or not? That is your question. Yes.
Yeah.
Consultants need full access. Say I'm consultant. I'm working for finance. I'll do the setups to test the different scenarios in the test instance. Definitely, I have to create additional users. I need IT security manager. When I'm doing the actual implementation in the production instance, also definitely we have to create users, custom roles, etc. Every consultant and must and should this access is required.
That is in an ideal situation. But if some companies or they want to restrict roles, users will have to be associated with somebody else. Like that, if they want to decide, they can also do that, right?
See, what happens is that depends on the company. But reality at the time of implementation, at the time of implementation, every consultant will have access to this. Every consultant will have access to entire system. Okay, entire system. Ideally, they need access to this too. After implementation, few clients what they do is even they don't give access to us also. Take example of production instance. Once production is ready, once client will start using, they don't give access to this IT security manager. Okay.
Mm.
So in that case, nothing. The user creation, etc. We cannot do anything. They will take care of. We may help them how to
Yeah.
customize the role. Then they say, okay, this part will take care. Some clients, what they do is you take whatever the access you need.
Yeah.
Some clients, what they do is, hey, don't touch my production instance. It's a very sensitive information. We don't allow you. Some clients, you say, you just play with our production instance. No worries, but please help us. Okay, different policies in different companies with the different clients.
That's what I'm telling. But the system allows us to do so, right? Because at the time of implementation in release solo also, the DBA and the system administrators, they used to play a greater role. They say that system administration responsibility is not assigned to you. Only DBS system administrators will create the users.
Correct.
Every time we wanted to have a create users, we did not have the access to that for the implementation.
Now with the
It
cloud,
used to create a lot of problems for us. It used to create every time we need to request them. It is a waste of time rather. But still, they used to manage like that.
Yeah, here you don't find that scenarios. Okay, no system administrator, no DBA in our team to manage all those things, requesting and all. So Oracle directly will provide the full privileges with this application implementation concern IT security manager role. They'll provide one user. With that user, how many other users to require the similar privileges you can create. If any support you require from DBA, you can write a service request to Oracle. The DBS will come into the picture to help us. That's all.
Yeah, maybe that is the reason why they want us to have these two roles together.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions?
Lakshman Stavan here. Actually, we have developed the one implementation project and also created the three or four multiple users are defined. So I am doing some transaction, some couple of days. So some have A user we are inactive the B consult log the B consultant. So whenever we open the login for P, so that time we can't open the your login details. So how to identify who
If scenarios, if you have some real examples, etc., those we can discuss in the end of the session. Okay, I'll spend enough time to discuss on that. Okay, we'll discuss maybe in the end of the session. Now we'll focus on what we are discussing because we have to consider everyone. So you and me are going to discuss those points. Others, what they have to do. Okay, don't mind. We'll discuss in the end of the session. Any questions on that? Okay, fine. Done.
Lakshman, for Oracle partners, you said this Vision instance will be given, right?
Exactly.
And for how about this development instance? That's a paid service. You need to pay for that, even for Oracle partner.
Development paid, or else what you can do is the Vision you can use as a development. If you are for clients for partners, they will provide Vision instance with the option of PaaS also. Okay, with the option of PaaS. Only SaaS or SaaS option also you will get a Vision instance. For clients, they want to get additional instance for development purpose. Yes, they have to pay. The partners, like Oracle partners, implementation partners can get Vision instance with a PaaS subscription also. That means you can use it for development purpose also.
Okay. Yeah. And the second question, you said subscriptions will be by default. Some number of subscriptions will be there. If it is a company or Oracle partner, then that will be fine. If there is a necessity or requirement for training purpose, will there be any different subscriptions for that?
No, Oracle is not providing for any training purposes.
Okay, only for the partners and Oracle companies, it will be giving the subscriptions.
You are right.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So, and Lakshman, as you said, I mean, a testing instance can be used as a development instance.
Yes, exactly. You can use it.
So, okay, that is the case, and we don't need to buy extra.
The entire implementation, what we are going to do, all the setups, all the business scenarios, all the processes we will configure and will test in the test instance. and you have very few developments, few customizations. You may think for these 3-4 customizations, why to go for development instance? Why can't we do it this one? So that's how you can plan and you can do, and you can take care like the existing setups, etc. Won't be disturbed. You can do that. Possible. Now we'll go and verify the user we created as a XYZ whether the XYZ user got access to FSM because we assigned application implementation consultant. Already we verified from XYZ we are able to access to security console. That means because of IT security manager. Now we'll verify this XYZ INC is able to access to FSM or not. Okay, this is the user. How to verify whether this user got access to FSM or not? Click on username. Click on setup and maintenance task. If you assign application implementation consultant role, then you will be able to see setup and maintenance task within this panel. Okay, here you can click on username, or else next to username there is a drop down option. Click on that. It is opening one panel. Within this panel, you are able to see setup and maintenance task. This task will take us to FSM page, functional setup manager page, where you can do the setups. So just click on setup and maintenance task. Now this is the FSM page, functional setup manager. Any setups you want to do, you can do from here. Now I want to do finance related setups. What you can do is here, select financials. Within the financials, I want to do payable setup. Here, select payables. Here you can say all tasks. It will display all payable related tasks. These all are the tasks. Simply you can say all are the setups. You want to do receivable related setups. Select receivables here. Here select show all tasks. These all are receivable related setups. You want to do the setups for fixed assets. You want to implement fixed assets. Select fixed assets. Say show all tasks. Now you can do all these setups. So not only from here, we have a different options also. Okay, we will discuss very soon. So just simple point is from FSM we can do the setups. If you want to get access to FSM, we need access to application implementation consultant role. Once we assign application implementation consultant role to any user, the moment you click on username, whatever the panel system is displaying within that, you can find the task called as setup and maintenance. If you click on setup and maintenance task, that will take us to FSM page. From that FSM page, you can do the setups for whatever you want to do. That's it. Okay. Right, this is what we have to understand. In tomorrow's session, we have to discuss about FSM, Functional Setup Manager. What is the purpose, what we can do, what we cannot do. There are many points. What is the terminology we use in FSM? These all we'll discuss, and we'll start working on FSM part in tomorrow's session. So we done for today. If you have any questions, you can stay back, or else no further discussions from my end. You can just, if you have any questions, you can stay back, or else if you want to involve in the discussions, when if you guys are going to raise their questions or queries. So if you want to participate, you can stay back, or else you may drop from the meeting. Yep. Thank you all. Have a good day and good night. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Lakshman.
Yeah, thanks. Any questions?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions from anyone now?
Yeah, Lakshman, sir, I had a question, please.
Please.
Yeah. So you mentioned that while providing the roles, you have mentioned that for implementation for FSM, like we assign the roles. So there were two options coming up, ASM and ORA ASM. And then you mentioned that for ORA ASM, the
No,
it
no.
cannot be modified.
Forget about ASM. It is not applicable everywhere. Okay. Just say
Mhm.
role with ORA or without ORA. With or without. Simply you take in that way. Okay. If any role code is starting with ORA and just without ORA, this is how you can classify like this. If any role code is starting with ORA, you cannot edit. If any role code is starting without ORA, that you can edit. This is the basic point we have to understand. Now just go ahead with your question.
So what kind of editing are we actually talking about here?
Editing means I will remove some privileges from that role. I will add some additional privileges into that role. That's all. Take simple example. Take simple example. I have one role called as a payables manager. So in the payables manager, I may have a privileges to create invoices, editing invoices, validating the invoices, deleting the invoices. Okay. And as a part of payments, I may have an option of creating the payments, editing the payments, and accounting the payments. This is how I may have privileges. Now, the role code is starting with ORA, nothing I can edit. Say the role code is starting without ORA. Now I can go. What I can do is I want to remove the privilege called as invoice validation. I'll remove that. So invoice cannot be validated. Who will get access to that role? And I want to delete the privilege called as a deletion, so that the person can create invoices but they cannot delete. So this is how, whatever the privileges the role contains, from those privileges few you can remove or all you can remove, or else additional you can add into that. So,
Thank you. So while working for any specific project, obviously we will be assigned IT implementation role, application consultant role. So initially when it comes to us, so that specific security control person will provide a copy, will provide the role as a copy, or it will be for an application implementation consultant.
Yeah,
that's what I want to know, because the copy one, like you mentioned, it will restrict some of the capabilities and some of the tasks.
Yeah. See, this
So that's what I
application
wanted to know.
implementation consultant and IT security manager, as it is, will assign to all the consultants. When we are going to create the roles, when we are going to the access to business users, 99% we will copy the Oracle provided roles and will modify and will assign. 99%. But these two are seeded. Okay, anyway, these two will be used by consultants. We'll keep as this. But other roles, application specific roles, payables related roles, receivables related roles, asset related roles, or procurement related, purchase related roles, sales related role. For the other departments, what are the application we have? For each application, we have a specific roles. Those roles always we customize. How to customize? We will have a session on that. Yep.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Adding to previous question, you said that the role which starts with the ORA, we cannot edit or modify. But when I seen somebody copied that role, so is it possible to copy that one?
Yeah, copy possible. What I am saying is, what Oracle is providing, within that you cannot edit, you cannot add inside, you cannot remove something. The same role you can copy. Once you copy, your actual role remain as is. You are making one copy. Once you copy the copied one, you can modify. That is not original one. From original, you are making the copy. That's it.
Understood. Thank you.
Thanks.
And this is not related to process, but just related to this session. And the thing is, every day morning I'm sending an email to point of contact, respective point of contact with the CRP tree. Then only I'm getting this session link. So contact it directly every day.
Yeah. What we are doing is, now just we started. This is third session, right? Maybe after 2-3 sessions, I'll start sharing the link directly to all the participants. We have to finalize the participants based on the subscription. Once that is done, I'll be sending the link to everyone directly from my end. Nobody will involve from my team. Yep.
Oh, okay. Understood. Thanks, Lakshman.
Thanks. Any other questions from anyone, please?
Lakshman, Shiva here.
Your voice is very low.
What now?
Same.
1 second.
Let's try.
Now we'll connect through headphones. 1 second.
Okay.
Lakshman, in between.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to reiterate the question regarding the subscriptions for training purposes. You said you will be giving the users, creating the users and assigning to all the attendees, right? The overall subscribe.
No. I don't do like that. I'll just provide one user called as ABC to all. Okay.
Okay.
I'll just give the username as ABC, password maybe XYZ. I'll share it with everyone. Once you get this user credentials, you can log into the instance with this username and you can create your own user.
Okay.
Okay. If tomorrow Oracle is going to refresh that instance, I mean, if they are going to reset the password, they will reset the password for all the users, right?
Yeah.
We will get a communication. Then what we will do is, I will reset the password to ABC user, which password? Same password. The old password only I'll set. You are aware of it, right? We are sharing.
Okay.
Now you can log into the instance as ABC user, then find out your user and you reset your password for your user, then proceed with your user. This is what we are going to do.
So for training purposes, you said that there won't be any subscription from Oracle. So just for information sake, I'm asking you as a company, you registered and got the users from there, or?
Yeah, this is a secret where I cannot answer.
Okay. No, I wanted to know, like, if you said like for training purpose, we won't get that.
Yeah, that's what
For me personally, if I want to get access from Oracle.
When I answered your question, immediately I expected this question from at least someone. But anyway, finally I am getting today itself. The answer is I cannot answer.
Okay.
Yeah, fine.
So personally, I can't get any instance from Oracle. That's what I'm expecting.
No. Personally, you cannot get.
Hey, one more question here. So when are you going to send us the instance URL and the password?
Once payment is done, I'll get an email from my team. Say you subscribe for this course, and they will communicate to me saying that somebody
Okay.
made a payment.
Yeah, I already did that 2 weeks ago. So probably you will send me. Maybe the username, everything has been updated. So I just want to make sure I have the new URL and the username. Password.
But already we shared. Already who subscribed, we shared the new instance details also. You may check inbox. Still, if you have any issue, talk to the team. I'll share immediately. Yeah.
Yes, and one more question. Like right now, I'm still not getting any emails about the classes other than getting the WhatsApp messages. Will I continue to get the WhatsApp messages like today, or will I start getting the emails with the classes?
You are supposed to get email only from our team also. Meantime, so maybe after 2-3 classes, I'll just collect all the participants' emails who subscribe directly. No other team members will involve in the process. I'll be the one who will be sharing the meeting link every day to all the participants.
Okay, so because I already paid, so I don't know why I was not in the email list. That's why I just want to make sure.
I mean, who is you are in touch with whom from the team?
Satish. Yeah.
Lakshman, can you please confirm the timings of the classes?
Timings, see, initially now we are running from 8 to 9:30. Maybe after 2 weeks, we'll prepone to 7 o'clock. The timings would be finally 7 to 9.
Mr. Lakshman,
Yeah.
7 may be too early in the sense for the countries where either it is not US time. like Africa, we are there. So it is too early, 2:30 here. It may be difficult for us.
You know, earlier we were, for every batch, we used to prepone the time to 6 o'clock. Because of these concerns only, we are adjusting with 7.
I think, okay, we need to get up at 2:30 then early morning.
Without attending classes, we can go through the videos also, right?
No.
Because I have the office from.
I'm sorry for this discussion. Yeah, we can understand everything. I'm really sorry if it is a very odd time for you. Yeah. So that is the best possibility we have by considering the people, most of the people who are attending from the different time zones. Yeah. That's how we have. Really sorry for that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just kept everyone on mute. Please go ahead.
No, see, without attending classes, we can go through the videos, but that is not the case. This kind of interaction we will not have if we go through the video.
Yeah.
Our doubts will be unanswered.
Correct.
That is only the reason. Though we have got around 20 years of experience in ERP, we still have so many doubts with regard to the new product. This Fusion is a new product, right?
Yeah, you're right.
That's the reason why we want to interact with you.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true anyway. No problem. I don't want to trouble you. In any case, we will get up at 2:30 and attend to the class. Don't worry about it.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Any questions? Yeah.
Yes, I also subscribed in the August and I have paid the fees, but still I'm sending emails to Saida and asking for the links.
No. See, initially, I didn't get complete list. Maybe I am already informed. After 2-3 classes, directly I'll get emails and participants information from my team. I'll directly share it. For these 2-3 days, please support us. Okay.
Okay.
So after 2-3 days, directly I'll be sharing the meeting link to everyone.
Okay, thank you. And I think this is not the right time to ask this question, but maybe it helps for me. So when I gone through your previous sessions, like previous classes in the YouTube.
One second. Your voice is totally different. It is some echo and all. Could you please check that once? Maybe you are very close to the mic or laptop or some system.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Same.
Sorry. Okay.